inside Thursday night. How's it going? Alright, strip back, good crack, multi-trade podcast. Share the knowledge you know, help to make our sector grow. Everybody's learning from experts and the journeymen. Insights.
Right, we're back. Season 9, Episode 4. I'm Stephen Buckley.
I'm Keith Delahan.
And this is Inside the Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Snickers Workwear Ireland.
And in association with Hager Ireland. And big thanks to N2 for facilitating the podcast and letting us use their brilliant showroom.
Yeah, and look, on this episode, we've got a fellow podcaster. We've got an individual who is in the depths of what is important right now in the conversation within the country, and that is cost saving around retrofitting and energy management. And we've got Fergal Cantwell joining us.
Yeah, music to my ears. We had a good chat at the Design Source Ireland RDS event, and we just had to have him in for a one-to-one. And what he's going to do is he's going to share everything retrofit grants and what people can and cannot claim for, I suppose, in terms of their energy upgrades.
Yeah, look, and I guess like any conversation that's based around that can highlight what a customer or an individual out there who's looking to, do a bit of work to their house and get a bit of money back for it, and do it the right way is great to see. And it's great to see that they're doing it through their podcast as well, the Behind the Walls podcast.
Yeah, no, 100%. Fergal is going to share everything grant related, retrofit related, energy, renewables, and also like what we always do, we'll strip it back and see where he was brought up, see what his growing up was like in Kilkenny.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Let's get into it.
Let's jump into it.
The Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Snickers Workwear Ireland, and Season 9 in association with N2 Electrical and Hager Ireland. Ferg, absolute pleasure joining us in the first, new studio conversation that we've had with a guest.
Guinea pig.
Thanks.
Bit of a drive up for yourself anyway.
Kenny. Asher, it's only up the road. The one thing we got out of Celtic Tiger was motorways. So there's an actual great fact that the traffic lights in John Street in Kilkenny are the last traffic lights you'll meet between there and Belfast.
No way.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what we got out of the Celtic Tiger.
Sure, you need traffic lights on the M50, guys. You know what I mean?
We didn't need them, no, not today.
There's enough red lights on There's enough red lights on the Google Maps anyway to get your attention anyway.
Yeah.
But now, great to get you down anyway, and welcome to the new studio. But we met up at Design Source there a couple of weeks ago, and our audio was a bit
shite.
After Steve telling me how good the audio and cameras were, and then
I know, he was like, all talk.
So I can't let it all go for free.
He jinxed it straight away. Yeah.
We're trying to entice you for this. The audio, we lost it.
Make sure you were good before we got you in.
Yeah, exactly. There's a trial run.
It's an awful pity because I think Pete was making some great points.
Yeah, the one you just said that. I was straight on to
I'm
him.
joking there. I'm joking.
Now you have to repeat them all.
Yeah.
I was straight on to him after, so we're going to have to get you in. Like, I was just waiting for the feed to come in for that.
Yeah.
But no, look, like as Keith said, pleasure to have you. It's no mean feat for myself and Keith to get anybody to agree to come in and chat to us. Like, you know what I mean? So to get the likes of yourself and anybody that's within the trade industry, even auxiliary to it, that's offering services to customers and clients and households out there, that offers the likes of yourselves a bit of work to be done in it, is what we're trying to do now. We're trying to link our way down through all the avenues within all the sectors, because we've exhausted all the other ones. But no, look, in fairness, what we do and what we do with most of our guests is we ask them to go back a little bit before we get talking about the nitty gritty stuff. It's where you grew up, maybe a little bit what were you like as a school kid, and how'd you get to where you are now, type of thing.
This should be a good one, I'd say.
Jesus. I grew up born and bred in Kilkenny. Proud Kilkenny man. Never left it. Never went to Australia or anything. I think I was too much of a home bird. I was actually afraid I'd miss something by going. But yeah, Kilkenny. And funny, I was only thinking on the way up. I suppose the older you get, the more you appreciate where you're from.
Yeah.
And I love Kilkenny. I think it's a great spot. Married a Kilkenny girl. Had 2 kids, and we never left Kilkenny. And funnily enough, my son is now in America for the last couple of years, and my daughter is studying in Dublin, and she never comes home. So
They usually do the opposite, don't they?
we didn't pass on the home bird thing to them. So yeah.
At
So-
school, what was school like? Like from Kilkenny, where you made play hurling or anything like that? Where you
I wasn't made play hurling, but yeah, I did play hurling. Yeah.
rite of passage?
Rite of passage is right. But yeah, look, it was great. Kilkenny obviously has a strong hurling background and interest. And every other sport is a minority sport.
Yeah.
So you can know that from our Gaelic football participation. So yeah, we only concentrate really on hurling. But look, there's loads of sports in Kilkenny. There's soccer and rugby and basketball and whatever else. When I finished playing hurling, I started playing golf. So there you go. There's a game for everyone. No one tackling me and playing golf. That's the good side of golf.
It is Kilkenny though. Like when you mention Kilkenny, you immediately think, of the hurling and how good they are at hurling, like,
It's even like that. I took a few trips down there, like with the family, like, and even with the wife and now with the kids and all, and it's just that vibe of the whole medieval look to the city. It's a city, isn't it?
It's a city, yeah.
I wouldn't even call it a city, but it's definitely got that feel of somewhere different than anywhere else in Ireland,
I always end up pissed in Kilkenny for some reason. we go to the lawyer at the state. Is that in Kilkenny?
Yeah.
A few
miles out
we go there. Yeah, we always have a great time in Kilkenny now, in fairness. But lawyer at the state's nice, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit high end now.
Is it high end?
Yeah, it would be high end.
Oh, Jesus, huh?
No messing with you.
No messing. We always go, yeah. I was in it twice.
That's the bracket he's in
I think
there.
my ma got it for me.
Lyrat or Mount Juliet for you, is it?
I think my ma got it for me Christmas box.
Well, you better thank her again. It was more expensive than you thought.
Yeah.
And a pair of socks.
I was like this when I didn't get the cash in the envelope.
But can you remember your first job?
My first job. I grew up in a construction family, so I remember my summers being spent either painting scaffolding or cutting grass or whatever. But I was always on building sites from a young age.
Was your father in the construction game, or was
he was a plasterer by trade, and his father before him set up a building company which he went into as well.
Yeah.
So there was himself and a few brothers. All trades, and they ran a construction company. Yeah.
plaster? You could do it, one or two of them now.
You could do it a lot of them. I was lucky enough to serve my time in a time when I suppose we had the construction company at home, but I served my time as a carpenter joiner because I actually spent a year in a joinery shop, which we had a joinery shop as well. And when I look at trades now, I know we're suffering in terms of trying to get people to get into trades for one thing. And the other thing is every young lad that tells me he's going to serve his time tells me he's going to be an electrician.
Yeah.
So you must be flooded with electricians.
Oh, unreal. And the work is unreal. Is like, the amount of work is unreal. And that's part of the reason why we should get you in, because we know you're linked in with EnviroBead and, the retrofitting, because like the retrofitting is just, it's absolutely, I know it's been around a while, but it's like, the last couple of years now, it's just blown up, hasn't it?
Blown up, yeah. I mean, just huge awareness, but it's that's where it is. I mean, we're pushing for these targets and that were never achievable.
Is it harder, do you think, like to try and filter the young kids now coming up through secondary school into the more niche trades?
Yeah,
because people just see they have them blinkers and they want the end goal of the money that's involved with the likes of the electrical, and the plumbing now is even probably level to the electrical and what they're earning,
I think the first problem is that if you compare when I was in school to when my brothers were in school to when my father was in school, like my father's time, 90% went off and served their time. 10% went to college.
Yeah.
My brothers are a bit older than me. They're 14 and 15 years older than me, but again, it was kind of 30% went to college, maybe 40%.
Yeah, the percentage was growing.
When I came around, there was still kind of 80-20, maybe even more. Like a lot of the guys I know would be tradesmen, you know?
Yeah.
And then you look at my son, who's 27, and 100% of them went to college.
Yeah.
So whether it's this thing of you have to go to college, or they think there's some kind of hardship in construction, which there probably is. But in terms of financial rewards, I mean, I would say it'll end up where you can name your price. Like, especially the trades that you're mentioning, like plasters. I remember being down at the opening of the Waterford ETB, where they do the courses for external installation and stuff. And across the road is Foss, where I would have been many years before that on block release. But I was talking to one of the instructors, having a cup of coffee at 11 o'clock or whatever. And I just said to him, have you many plastering apprentices? And he said, we have 2. I said, 2? And he said, in the country.
Jesus, yeah.
So I think plastering is one that is really suffering.
Do you think parents are to blame with that as well?
The blockies is the same.
Do you think like a lot of the parents that would have been in that game, like the likes of the plastering, even the block laying and all that, they don't want their kids because they've had that hardship coming through those trades. And it's like, I don't want my kids to follow behind me and do what I've done.
To a certain extent, but I think if you look at trades now, I think an awful lot of hardship has been taken out of it. Like plastering was always a tough game.
Yeah.
But now they've lightweight plasters and they have it like it's not the
not the same.
You aren't going around like Popeye anymore because that's what happened. One massive arm from But I don't know. Is it as tough as it used to be? Or maybe that's like when everyone gets older, they look back and say the next generation have it easy.
But back in my day.
I think everybody wants, they want their kids to do that bit better than, or they feel like. I mean, even as us as a trade, like level 6 certificate, whatever it is. You know, by the time you've got into your trade and you've done your years or 20 plus years within it, you know, you're proud of what you've learned and you're still learning as you go. But you still have that feeling like where they want to see your kid do that a little bit better than what you've done.
And you're being paid as you go as well. Yeah. You have to remember as well.
Massive thing, yeah.
Apprentices
there's
now
a lot to be said for that, like, you know what I mean? Like,
getting a lot more than what we were getting back.
And how many students do you see coming out of college with, you know, qualifications and they don't actually work within that field, you know what I mean? It's just a piece of paper.
And the other side of that is I would imagine that the starting salary for a graduate is a lot less than a carpenter or an electrician or a plumber or a plasterer.
Yeah, so you're on the back foot.
I don't know would they ever get to it because trades are well paid if you can find them. But I think there's a few things happened. I mean, I was talking about when I served my time, but then we went through the so-called boom when the trades kind of got broken up. Everything had to be done in a hurry. Yeah. But you could have a young lad going in serving his time as a carpenter, but he spent 4 years on a roof. So then that became a trade. It was a roofer.
Yeah.
Like if you go back far enough, like tiling and slating was part of a plasterer's trade. Plasterer always tiled and you know. Yeah. And then bathroom tiles and floor tiles was a block layer. And the strange one, which everyone always looks at me when I say it, is that flashing around chimneys and lead flashing was a plumber's job, if you go back far enough. Jesus. So I think when you look at the boom, we kind of disrupted trades as such. Like the test of a carpenter used to be hanging a door. And then during the boom, they brought in pre-hung doors where all you did was slide them into place and throw on, tapped in the architrave and cans of foam and all these things that a tradesman should, you know,
stay away. Yeah, you shouldn't need.
But that's what happened to trades, and that's why I would say it's not as tough as it kind of used to be. Like, if you think back of, I always laugh at the cordless drills. You know, like if you take a hanging a door again, which I always use a hanging a door as a good one because if you were hanging a door with a handheld screwdriver, you get it right a lot quicker than you would.
Because
you're not going to take it up and down 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And I see lads hanging doors now. If they are hanging them manually, we'll say they're not pre-hung. They could take the door up and down 8 times before it's right, you know?
Oh, yeah. No,
whereas an old school lad would look at that and he has to do that with...
Yeah,
I mean, Popeye arms again. You're going to get it right.
The measuring twice thing comes in then.
But it's different. I just think there was a kind of a craftsman element to it then. And I think we've lost a bit of that.
100%. Like when I was working with my first crowd, like when I was the first year, there was the now labourer that was on site. Now he must have been well in his 60s, maybe 70, like, you know. And he was chasing out for our fuse board, like, you know. and I was like doing it with a bolster chisel and hammer, like.
Yeah.
And I had a Kango there with us, and I was like, "Do you want to use that?" And he was like, "No, I don't want to use it." Like, and he did the most unreal job, like, you know what I mean? It was perfect.
Perfect.
Now, it took him a day to do
Oh,
it, where I would have, half the wall would have been gone. I would have been done in
paid by
half
the
an
hour,
hour. Yeah, paid by the hour, yeah.
Yeah, there's an argument for moving on as well in terms of you have to move on
Yeah,
with modern
it's a fine
technology
line,
and
yeah.
things. But I do think that a lot of trades or a lot of skills were lost
Yeah.
because we were in a hurry to do everything. And those are the houses that we are now looking at retrofitting,
Exactly.
funnily enough, and they're supposed to be all well built. And turns out that they're not.
That's the same, like what you said, like just came into my head, like you have a first and second fix carpenter now, which is mad. Like, you know, some lads are not allowed to do the second fix, like, because they're only good for first fix, you know.
But that falls into every sector. Like, I mean, even with electricians, you know, you have lads now that are saying, "Oh, I'm not like in alarms, or I'm not in, you know, even fire alarms or not." But where you go through your apprenticeship in your phases, they're teaching you those bits. They're teaching you those skills, but they're choosing to come out and not. I'm solely this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bottlenecking yourself.
Bottleneck yourself.
And in your game, we'll say, like, an industrial electrician can spend the first 2 years of his apprenticeship pulling cable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're learning there.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. That's that.
So that kind of stuff is hard to.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, like, I only found out, obviously, I started my company a couple of years ago, and, you know, we got busy, and I was like hiring just to hire, you know. It wasn't, "Oh, you're an electrician, Grant, let's go, you're hired." And then you find, you kind of, you figure out as you're going along that, geez, these lads, they're qualified on paper, but they can't. And then I get talking to a couple of, like, local lads that have been in the game a long time, and they're like, first thing I asked them, can you test a board? Can you do, like, you'd be surprised how many electricians can't use a tester. Like, they can't test their work. And it's like, these lads that I was hiring never held a tester in their lives, like, and you're giving them full right. Technically, they're not qualified because they can't do that. They can't connect a heating system.
Yeah.
You know, basic stuff that I would have known maybe as a third or fourth year. Yeah. They can't do, and they're maybe 5-6 years qualified.
They're bottlenecking themselves into niche sectors or within a sector, you know what I mean? Like what Ferg was saying there, and it does limit you. Because, like, when push comes to shove, and even when we look myself in the maintenance game, we see it as well. There's so many different services that we have to offer. If it's down to fire alarm, you know, if it's down to fixed wire testing, like yourself there mentioned, lads not ever getting their hands on a multifunctional tester, like.
But do you get that?
But the difference is some of them asking, "Show me." You know what I mean? They're the ones that say, "You don't mind that? Come in, show me. I want to learn." But there's other guys with no.
What way does that work for the help desk? Like, so say you have, I don't know how many vans, you have 20 vans on the road. Everyone, you have 20 electricians on the road. You get a call in Dundrum, and you have a van close to Dundrum. But you're just principal duty holder, so obviously you can do whatever you need to do. But you have a lad that's like 5 minutes away, and you know he can't test.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing now. We're trying to swap that out, because what's happening is, if, like what Keith mentioned, you have lads who are capable to a certain level. They get asked to do a job within their geographic area of the day, which is going to save the company money in regards to diesel, because they wouldn't have to travel far to the job.
Yeah,
they're going to be able to pick up a certain amount of jobs within that area within that day, which is going to be beneficial for the company. But what's happening is you've got another guy who's on the far side of Dublin, or even just out on the outskirts of Dublin, getting that call saying, "Look, you've got your QC number, you've done fixed wire testing, you're comfortable in doing that. This guy is not." And what happens is you've got lads crossing during the day, you know what I mean? Bans on the road with the price of diesel now and everything. So that's what's being, you know, sort of being brushed out now of the companies. And there needs to be, you know what I mean? Because it's costing a lot of money, like, you know, just on the road.
But it goes back to what I was saying, like, if you're an electrician, you're an electrician.
Yeah.
So like, if you're a qualified electrician, I don't think there's anything you should be.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Should be no grey area.
Yeah. And so we're willing to say that, like, understandable within an industry that has grown so far and has stretched out so far. And like what you mentioned, there's been certain sectors within it that have been, lads have sort of fell into, and they find themselves doing that constantly. If somebody puts their hands up and says, "Look, I haven't done a fixed wire testing in 5 years," you know, we'll just say, "Right, look, there's a refresher course there.
Absolutely.
You'll get sent on it, you'll do it." And if they're willing to do it, you'll stay, and you're going to stay working for us. If you're not willing to do it, the lads have to be gone. That's the way, we see it.
There's a certain responsibility on the employer for, like, if you're bringing in a a young lad or a young one to serve their time, they have to be shown every aspect.
Yeah.
Now I know you can't pick the jobs you're going to, but there must be something where you'd say there's something coming up. This guy is in his third year. He's never done this. He's the one. We have to send him there.
Yeah.
Because it's just what Keith said earlier about a first fix and a second fix carpenter. You couldn't do that the lad fitting the door frame has to be the lad fitting the door.
Yeah.
Because the lad fitting the door frame doesn't give a shite.
Oh, that's
the lad fitting the door has all the problems afterwards.
I don't know if you see or you come across that in retrofitting, but that does happen. Like where you've got the labourers putting in door frames. And
no, you couldn't have whoever's doing the finish has to be the one setting up.
Fully accountable then.
Yeah, because how could you have someone else putting in the door frame? It's kind of like similar to someone else latting and felting the roof. And then a lad comes on with his tiles and slates and says, these don't fit. Like, what's he do? He puts a lat underneath every lat to make it work.
Who are you blaming? Or, well, not blame, but like who's accountable?
Whoever's finishing it should be setting it out.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
We had Steve White on the podcast a while ago, back when we were doing audio episodes. And what he does, he goes around snagging houses.
Right.
For new houses, like newly built houses, And what he's laid out to us is that these houses are not built to 100% in regards to finishes.
Yeah.
And it's up to you as a homeowner coming in to find the problems, And that's why there's the likes of Steve and some of these other guys out there going around snagging these new builds, And like what they're saying, like think about electricians, that there should be a minimum gold standard of finish in a certification of anybody working like that's going to get the job done. Like you couldn't say, well, I can leave that 90% finished in regards to electrics. You know what I mean? So why does that
electrics anyway?
Yeah, but why?
It wouldn't be great.
What?
You're 100% dead.
What makes it acceptable? What makes it acceptable then in the other parts of the trade? You know what I mean? Like the architraves, the windows, the doors, the insulation. What makes it acceptable that everybody else can do it 90%?
It's become acceptable, though, hasn't it? I've seen some tiling jobs that I'm afraid to tell the homeowner, like,
you
just have to stop looking over there, like,
just look away.
Yeah, and it's funny that when you talk to trades, like even when you see lines,
crooked lines,
but you end up with a good eye in terms of you can see when something is off. And it's mad that especially tiling,
the eye,
a bad tiling job, you can spot it walking in the door. But when someone is telling you that they're delighted with their new tile splashback, and you go, "This is great."
It's the desperation, the desperation of everybody, anybody looking for their first homeowners now. They want to just get that house. They want to get in, and they want to get in that door, and they want to get those keys, and they'll accept anything just to get in the door. And what happens then is you spend a couple of weeks in it, and then you're just looking at the same wall, like you mentioned, you start to catch the eye of something, and then you start to feel that draft coming in, and it's something
slowly drives you mad.
Yeah, But it's like that. It's just it's mad to think that like there's new houses that would still be within the remit of considered new within a certain 10-year period that would need retrofit now. It's crazy to think, like,
Yeah, but that is what's happening, yeah. I mean, if you go back to as I keep calling it, the so-called boom, it was kind of mad at the time, but Jesus, there was houses just thrown up, like.
Yeah.
Like there was a field there one week, and the next week there was full of houses, and that's what happened, and you couldn't get them out quick enough.
Do you see that creeping back in?
I think there's a certain panic in terms of the housing crisis at the minute, but I don't know how quick you could throw them up when they're priced away there.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm just saying,
back in the day,
you still need someone to buy them.
That's the truth.
I remember when this started. Like if I knew then what I know now, kind of thing. But I remember these houses being built around Kilkenny, the outskirts of Kilkenny, which are literally in the city now. But do you know the way like the town kind of grew out?
Yeah.
But like these were being sold for 50,000 when I was 20, and I'm looking back at that going, Jeez, I could have had 10 of them. But then again, 2008 came around and I wouldn't have had 10 of them. So maybe I'm better off.
That's
I didn't go near any of
10 and nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you fall into EnviroBead? How did you land into that position?
So EnviroBead followed, we talked about the boom and then we had the recession where we kind of went back to kind of 3-day weeks and everything was slow. So I went down to Carlow IT and I did a degree at night in energy management of buildings. And that opened the door to get into the energy industry.
Yeah.
And it's a small industry. It's growing now all the time, and there's more players in it now every day, just purely because of how big a market it is at the minute, or how it's growing. But at the time, I remember everyone kind of knows everyone in the energy side of it, and still do. When you go up to the energy show, it's more about how are you getting on since last year till you haven't seen, and everyone kind of catches up. But yeah, that's how I got into it, because purely because construction was down to Swanee at the time.
Yeah. Did you remember doing the course? I remember doing one myself in a hotel in Dublin at the time. It was actually through FOSS where they were putting lads into solar PV courses at the time. It was just to get lads, keeping them busy and keeping them upskilling and stuff. And a lot of lads sitting around, this is never going to take off. It's never going to happen. You know what I mean? Literally just sitting there just to keep lads busy and keep them motivated, you know. So did you remember at the time sitting there? Goal. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. Get that payment, you know.
I suppose I was different in terms of I had an interest in the energy efficiency side of things. I did the BER course in 2008 at a cost of €3,000. I think they're all free now. So that still bugs me. But at the time, it was like BER assessment was a great thing to get into, but then they let too many into it, and it was a disaster.
Do you have to be registered to be a BER assessor?
Yeah.
So is that with the SEAI? Yeah.
So I think I registered for 2 years, and it was kind of a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
I saw them being advertised online for £50 or €50 at the time, and I said, right, that's the end of that.
Like the taxi plates.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Drive by BERs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So what happens, like, some people are out there and they're just giving the BERs out, basically.
If you had a sketch of the house, they were giving you a BER.
Or a ChatGPT.
I was just saying,
it wasn't around at the time, but I'm sure if it was.
It's happening. I swear to God, it's happening.
Yeah. But that's what happened. And in fairness to SAI, the BER side of things has been cleaned up. And there's an awful lot of very good BER assessors out there now.
Yeah, even the SCAI lads, the inspectors and stuff like that now are fairly good at keeping it compliant. And I know we do a lot of solar, so depending on who you're working for, obviously they have a different percentage of what jobs get checked, and do you know what I mean? But they're fairly thorough, like, and in a good way. Like.
Well, even we know, even a bunch of lads coming into our house doing one there recently, like, because just we're getting a few bits and bobs done, trying to get the green mortgage and stuff. But it's just the first initial point of a BER assessor coming in and opening your eyes up to aspects of your house you hadn't a clue about, like, you know what I mean? Telling you what you need to get done, and you know what levels you need to get at to even get, you know, up a certain level within the ratings and stuff. And I just think, is that the initial point? Do you think that obviously it's required now, isn't it, in regard to grants to have the BER? So it's important to have a good starting point in it. Yeah.
If you're talking about anyone getting into the industry, I would say that someone coming from a trade background, I would recommend doing a BER assessor course. Don't register now to be a BER assessor, but I think the course itself is a great foundation in heat loss and U values, and you have to calculate U values, and you know, so it's kind of like, if you know how something works, it's very easy. It's easier to explain it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, so I would highly recommend anyone to do it. And those ETB courses that are around, whether it's external installation or they have a retrofit supervisor course, they have just loads of courses, and I think, as far as I know, they're all free.
Yeah.
So anyone in a trade that's looking to get into the energy efficiency industry should certainly be looking at that and saying, and there's PV courses, there's, you know, ventilation courses, all the things that you probably wouldn't be thinking about offhand.
Even if it's introductory courses, you know what I mean?
That's all they are. They're just foundation courses, we'll say. But it opens up an avenue to go even into, we say, project management of what we're doing with, say, home energy upgrades. And everyone is struggling to get project managers.
Yeah.
So it's the same as if you're struggling to get trades, you're struggling to get project managers. So there's a knock-on effect, you know.
Yeah, you can.
Then you get a good trade and you take them away and you make them a project manager, and then you're going.
That's exactly. Now
we've lost the best trade.
That's exactly. I was just about to say that. That's what tends to happen. Your best lad usually gets promoted into it, and then maybe might not have the skill to do that job where you would have thought maybe he would. And like, you know, tools in his hand was his forte, and then you're putting a pen and a pad in his hand, and just not getting the same.
And he mightn't enjoy it either.
He mightn't enjoy it as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's a different.
Grass is not always green.
Different type of pressure, like, you know.
Yeah. It's a good thing about the trades, though, is that, like, if it doesn't work out, you can always go back, and it's still going back into something that's, you know, really important. And something that you can excel in again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in the process of that now myself. Like, I'm trying to figure out like the balance of coming off the tools and getting into a management position. And it's a scary thing to do when you've worked on the tools for so long, like, and you have that comfort of walking onto a job or walking onto a site and seeing an issue or seeing a bit of fault finding that's involved. You know where to go with it. Management and man management and dealing
Telling
with clients.
someone else to do it is a different thing.
It's a different ball game, and you expect to do it to your capabilities as well. And that's
don't take him an hour and then he's there 3 days later.
I'm only laughing because I have a shed full of tools outside, and every so often I'll take on a project, and about an hour into it I go, oh jeez, what am I doing?
Where's my laptop?
It was very enjoyable taking out the tools and planning it, and then go,
greasing them
oh,
up
for the love of God.
buying them, yeah.
But in terms of we had a great chat at the
Design source
that we lost, but it was you and Pete made a great point about retrofitting houses and the benefits because of like being in the middle of towns and not having to move out to the outskirts of towns, and bringing old houses to life. Is that something that you be heavily invested in, like with EnviroBead?
Yeah, I suppose like I work in this as a business, but I also believe in it in terms of, so if I wasn't working in it, I'd still be saying the same things, I think. Obviously I work in it as a business, so people will say, well, you're only saying that because, but I actually do believe in the measures, and I have my own house done, and I can tell you the comfort that's involved, and and it's very hard kind of put a price on that. I know people get into paybacks, and unfortunately with the price of electricity at the minute, but I just think if you look at in a bigger picture and you look at climate change, we should all be doing our bit kind of thing. It's nearly harsh to say it's kind of selfish not to. I can understand people not doing it because it is expensive. And I can see, I mean, you only have to buy a carton of milk and you know that everything is going up. I have people for the last 2 weeks ringing me, giving out about their oil fill at Christmas was $350 and now it's $500 and something. So they're looking to look down the heat pump roof. But the biggest battle I see for our industry is the negativity that's around. I mean, social media is awash. It's always negative. And even major publications, like big brand newspapers, printing articles about, retrofitting doesn't make sense. That was one that was a couple of weeks ago or last week. But there's an awful lot of negativity to get over. So there's kind of a constant battle all the time. So I would talk to homeowners who would say, right, under no circumstance do we want a heat pump. And by the time we're finished talking, they're saying, really? And I would tell anyone to go to someone's house that has a heat pump. Don't read Facebook. Facebook, I mean, because it's written Facebook doesn't mean it's true. But people do take it as gospel kind of thing. Well, I read this, or the other one that comes up a lot is Johnny the plumber down the road is advising that, you stick to the aisle. And I would always say, do you think he'd have a conflict of interest in saying that? And they'd say, no. Well, so it's like asking someone who's selling solar PV to solar PV work. So I'm very conscious of, I'm in the game. And I'm saying everything is great. But I do acknowledge that it's expensive. And it's very hard to go from a G or an F to an A. It's not very hard. It's very expensive to go up to. It's not hard at all.
Is it tough, like when you have the likes of the government coming out with, the grants, and they make these big announcements across, social media platforms like radio stations, TV, and you have the likes of your companies that would be in it already, and you've been selling this, retrofit systems within domestic settings, like for the last few years anyway, before even the grants have been pushed out there. But you have every Tom, Dick and Harry now seeing the big fucking Euro signs in their eyes now, seeing the grants, and you have lads coming in, taking advantage of that, taking advantage of customers and, homeowners and stuff, and feeding them the wrong information in a sense. Do you find that it maybe has a negative knock on as well to the likes of your companies? Is it tough to try and stay ahead of those lads, or maybe clean up after them as well,
I suppose, there's probably a core group of companies that have been there all the time. I would always say to go back to SCI if you're not unsure, if you're unsure or not sure about something. I've heard the bad advice stories, and they cost money, bad advice stories. It's like Johnny the plumber down the road telling you that this is the way you do it, and I know this for a fact. And unfortunately, people take that at face value.
Yeah.
Because he's in the construction game, so surely he knows what he's on about. But like I've had numerous phone calls over the year, and I said it to you at the design source, the story about people ringing up saying, I was told to finish all the work and then give you a call, you sort out the grants. But yeah, and it's a terrible conversation to have, to say, unfortunately, if it's done, there are no grants. And there's like silence at the end of the phone.
Like
but
what?
I was told, you see, yeah, but who told you and where did you get that information? So it's hugely important to, even like, if you don't believe me, go to SEI and check the people that are giving out the money.
The processes,
Yeah, because it's like, to lose, you know, I mean, and the way the grants are at the minute, if you did a full retrofit now, I mean, it's up to 39 grand.
Yeah.
So can you imagine you went off and did all that and then rang up Fergal and said, can you
give me
do the paperwork for
me?
the grant? Yeah. And Fergal says, well, if it's already done.
Well, when do you want us to start? It's done.
It's done, yeah. Well, I've had that now where someone said, I would say, well, you need an assessment done first. I said, for what? It's done. I said, well...
Yeah, what do you say there? Like, you know?
Yeah, sorry, I'm going through a tunnel. But try and get out. Yeah. But it is unfortunate, and listen, it's becoming less and less because people are more aware and it's a lot more in the public eye. But starting out, I remember that used to happen 5 or 6 times a year. And now I've had 2 of those this year already. Like 1 a year is enough.
Yeah,
actually 1 is too many. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
To lose any amount of money on grants from bad advice.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that the goal of the podcast that yourself and Pete are doing?
Absolutely, and that's why we set it up. You know, again, it's back to you're in the business, you're looking for business out of it. We're actually trying to. It's about awareness. I think if you get business out of a grant, but I think it's more about awareness and homeowner awareness. I think everyone kind of, there's an awful lot of stuff going on now. Like we started doing information nights, and now loads of the companies are doing information nights.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of benefits from spreading the message, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As long as it's the right message.
Yeah.
So, don't get your grants later. But
definitely not.
Well, like with the 2 years, like even we were talking to Pete as well. Like it's the proof is in the pudding as well. Like because like you see Pete upgrading his solar system, or actually getting a solar system. Like so, you're preaching about things you're doing in your own house as well. See, you came in an electric car as well. So like what more, you know, proof do people need that, you know, yous are invested in it and like yous believe in it, like as well. I'm the same. Like if I could get a heat pump, like obviously, like you said, it's the money and the grants. My house was isn't in the right time. I think it was 2012 or something like that. So I don't qualify for grants in that way.
You do for a heat pump?
Do I?
Yeah. Pre-21.
Get your number.
Pre-2021 for the heat pump.
There you go. Selling the air and all.
He's trying to sell
Throw the card out.
Where was I going with that anyway? I mean, just all I can see is the heat pump spinning now.
You're thinking of saving money now. Ring the wife there, quick.
Yeah, but right, see, that's the thing where the education comes into it then. My house is not set up for a heat pump. Like, I'd need to do the full insulation job and everything as well. And we spoke about that on the design source as well, about people are willing to, you know, maybe make their house look better before they actually do the core basics that they need to do to get it warm and efficient. Like, so we was laughing when the lads were saying it there, because we did the opposite. We got the new kitchen and, you know, and the new window with the windows. I suppose the windows help, but insulation is terrible, you know.
Yeah.
What's the payback on the kitchen?
That's gone. That ship has sailed. I'm paying that back for the rest of my life.
But the likes of yourselves, even with the podcast, how did it come about? Like, how did yourself and Pete actually sit down and plan it out, or what was the...
I think we got bullied, but we, as I was saying earlier, we started doing these information nights, and we were doing 3 or 4 a year back 2 years ago, and we were in Galway one night, and we went out celebrating our great information night. We ended up in the Dáil Bar in Galway, and it was actually Stephen Farrell from the SEI who's forever going to be blamed for this, but he said, you know what, wouldn't it be great crack if the two of you did a podcast on energy efficiency and home energy upgrades? And we laughed and we laughed and we laughed. And Pamela McCabe, who was with us that night as well, there was 5 or 6 of us there, but Pamela is our business development manager. And she was kind of looking at us going, that's not a bad idea.
She was on the 00.
And yeah, something like that, yeah. She was actually, she was driving that night. So she was Desi. But
voice of
the
reason.
next time we were all driving home from Galway the next day, and I think we all started ringing each other saying it mightn't be as bad an idea as we thought. So we actually agreed that we'd do kind of 5 and see how it went. And as I said, it was about homeowner awareness. So I suppose it's like, as someone said to me, I heard a great saying the other day about an opinion is like a podcast. Everyone has one and no one wants to listen to yours.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So it's actually, obviously having a podcast is one thing, but when there's 10 people listening to it is a different thing.
Yeah.
But I suppose we had, when the grants changed this year and there was an increase, we had Stephen Farrell back in, and we kind of got a hit out of that one, which there was a lot of listening to that. I think that's how I ended up talking to the two of you.
Yeah.
But there was great traction in that. But you know yourself, as you're into your hundreds of podcasts, we have like 12. So
we usually latch on to a good thing now, in fairness.
Yeah. I'm always on the eye for the good stuff. But look, I mean, like, obviously talking to yourself, and I'm sitting down, and every podcast has its niche. Like myself and Keith obviously started off with the whole apprenticeship end of things and trying to promote apprenticeships, and that sort of grew its own legs, would you say? And it's gone into society and culture and everything else that goes with it. But we always like to keep sort of ingrained within the trades and stuff like that. So to see other podcasts coming out and in any way sort of related to good information and proper information, and lads that are, like you said, in it and are not just using it, but are in the game, like, you know what I mean, and they're promoting,
giving information,
proper, good information out to people. It's great to see. And the likes of the episodes there they are mentioning, to see that being a focal point then for the likes of anybody to be able to go onto YouTube. Everybody's got a phone in their hand nowadays. There's terrible information being pushed out across TikTok and Instagram at the best of times when you're scrolling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those first 30 to 60 seconds, I can give so much misinformation within them, you know?
Yeah. Have something from professional.
Yeah. Especially lads sitting down, like, you know, you'd be sitting in the office, sitting at home, you know, earpods in, listening to 60 minutes of just information that's going to, then I know after just listening to your episodes, we went on, we got the BER, we got the house assessed, we got the windows done, we've got the doors done, we've got the boiler replaced, and it's all just through listening to.
Well, for some,
job done.
Yeah,
for some,
you know what I mean? But it's just it's the one thing, you know.
We got done with the kitchen.
Okay, the smart room about it, but it's just
I just think
key to heat pump, will you?
that's what I was just thinking. I would have been able to get the.
We're trying to save up to the podcast.
I would have been able to get the kitchen with the rebate.
Yeah.
I could have bought it.
You're gonna get bored, yeah.
It's that initial seed, though. You know what I mean? People need to. It can be a negative seed that's implanted in somebody's mind, or it's the likes of yourselves. If you aren't having them chats in public, you know, you can do those workshops or you can do those event nights, and you know you're hoping that that information that's being relayed to whoever's in the room that night then gets passed on, then, you know, to Mary down the road or whoever it is in the family. You know what I mean? But the podcast is just a different field. It's there forever. Exactly. Yeah. It's, you know, you might look at the numbers one week and, you know, 20, 30, 100, and it goes up and up and up. That's an extra pair of ears that's getting it every week.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know what they can actually get. Like, it's just a mad thing. Like, we do a lot of government work as well. Like, and there's grants through that as well, through, you know, old age and, you know, and living alone and all that kind of thing as well. So there's reliefs and stuff for
even
that
right
as well,
down to ourselves. We've looked into, you know, if you're a carer and all that, you know, you've got neurodivergent children and stuff like that. There's grants for everything, you know what I mean? If you really go looking for it, you know what I mean?
Government, you know what I mean? The stuff is there, like, if you go looking, like.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, they're not as bad as people make them out to be as well. Like,
yeah.
They do a great
and most of these schemes, they're actually doing their best to give away the money.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of negativity about, there's a grant for windows and doors now. Well, try and get it off them. This kind of thing that goes on. And, you know, as in, you have to jump through hoops. Or what I'm reading lately is there's 5,600 for windows and doors. So that's windows and doors gone up 5,600.
Yeah.
It's not as sinister as that, like, you know.
No,
I would imagine windows and doors have gone up since the new grant came in, purely because of paperwork and whatever else.
And you know,
that's not thousands. I'm talking about I'm sure they've added on an admin fee.
Administration fees, yeah.
But it's definitely not going to eat up the grant as well.
Well, I know from the solar, like, you know, obviously you get someone to install solar, like, it's definitely, there's a lot of paperwork that goes into, you know, getting those panels up there. Like, you've probably the same through Windows and stuff, like, you've declaration that works, and then you've got, you know, product, you have to produce all the product manufacturing paperwork and all that kind of stuff, and all that has to be put into a, you know, customer package that's given to them and that they know what they have.
Handover file.
Exactly. Handover. So
and again, that comes up a lot, the difference between, you know, I can get someone to do it cheaper, but SCA are not breathing down their neck expecting, or, you know, so there's a certain standard that you have to live up to when you're registered.
Yeah.
And if you're not registered, well, like,
I
don't know. Like, I mean, that's the only reason I can see anyone could be anyway cheaper. Because they're not doing exactly what
does EnviroBee, do they offer a full start to finish service? Is it all in-house?
The home energy assessments they have to be completed by an independent assessor because it wouldn't make sense the contractor telling you what you need to do. So to a certain extent, but there is a lot of trust built up between homeowners and ourselves when we're dealing with them, because when they're talking to you, they know what you're talking about, and they start to. It's like someone saying, "I definitely don't want a heat pump because Johnny down the road told me that they're a disaster." But when you get talking to them and you say to them, "Do you know anyone with a heat pump at all?" Because I would certainly say, go call there and see what they think of it. You know, like heat pumps. There's an awful lot of negativity about heat pumps. If I was a conspiracy theorist, I think there's some kind of an agenda going on because it comes up so much. But
Trump,
there's something going on. But like a heat pump, if you have high bills from a heat pump, well, everyone has high bills now is one thing. But if you have really high bills from a heat pump, it's either badly installed or badly designed.
Yeah,
there's something wrong somewhere.
100%.
Because heat pumps, by their nature, like, they're 350 to 400% efficient.
Yeah,
it makes no sense that they can't compete with it. The best boiler you have is 93%.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? So something's gone wrong along the line if it's costing you a lot of money to run a heat pump.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at my own house, and I'm kind of reading all these articles and reading social media, which I should stop doing because I start pulling my hair out. But I'm kind of looking and going, am I the only one that's actually getting the benefit out of this?
Yeah, you don't hear the good stories. The problem
is that the naysayers shout, and people that are happy with it don't say anything.
Yeah, because there's no agenda.
But they don't feel the need to answer anyone, or, you know.
Yeah, if you're not giving out, you're happy enough. Like, but like what you said, if you're the wrong, you know, company or the wrong person installing, or you go straight to a plumber for a heat pump, like 9 times out of 10, he's going to fit it for you because you've asked for it. But like, there's some of the houses aren't ready for it. You know what I mean? Like me, I know my house definitely not. There's too much, you know, heat loss and stuff like that. So it will cost me a fortune.
And again, that's why SCA regulated in terms of, so we look at heat loss indicators when we're looking at heat pumps, and you have to be below 2.3, and that's kind of it. You won't get the grant after, you know. So they do have a cut-off point. So it's not as if you can fit a heat pump into a chicken shed and, you know, there's no point coming back. Now, they're buying a pilot scheme for the high-temperature heat pumps, which is a kind of a swap-out for a boiler.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure is that the answer either.
Yeah. But like, what people don't mention as well, like, obviously there's an initial outlay to get these things done. But like, if you're going to sell your house, you know, getting that, going from an E to, you know, all the way up to your A2 or wherever you can get, the highest you can get, I'd imagine it's adding massive money on to the price of the house as well.
I think if you go back, we'll say, when I was buying a house, it was always location, location, location.
Yeah.
But now it's location, location, energy rate.
Energy rating.
It is part of the conversation, because I remember years ago, you could have a B-rated house and an F-rated house on the same street, and they could be sold for the same. Because people just wanted to live on that street.
Yeah, yeah.
The people that bought the F-rated house had to spend a whole lot more money than the people that bought the B-rated house to make it what they wanted to.
Yeah.
So it is a big consideration now, and people are aware of energy costs. And it's in the news all the time. It might be a lot of it is negative, but even negative is still, everyone knows about it, kind of thing.
Is there
the more awareness, the better? You know?
Yeah. Is there something about bringing an old house back to life? Does that give you the jollies at all? Does it?
Yeah, but then there's the awkward ones where they set up the traditional homes pilot. Like houses that are listed, that so you, from an energy point of view, they're a disaster or a nightmare for us, because first you can't touch the walls.
Yeah.
You can't change the windows. You can put attic insulation in, and you'd say
You're into
well,
nearly
you're certainly not putting a heat pump in there.
you're into like internal building out of the house. I've seen that done.
Yeah, but they end up going down the traditional routes of so not the modern technology. So you can't externally insulate with polystyrene, we say.
Yeah.
So then you get into lime plasters and you get into all this kind of like great stuff. But the problem is when you get into craftsman stuff,
Labor
is it's 10 times the price, and the products are 10 times the price.
Yeah.
And it just becomes, is it worth putting 250,000 into a house? Do you know, like
a three bed that
You never
if you move to the outside the city, you'd get the 3 bed.
Yeah, and if you did it and it's an A rated and you put it on the market in the morning, you're certainly not going to get that back.
Yeah, so there's the flip side of it.
So
that's where the location comes. I think when you mentioned there, people buy houses for the location, so they'll put money into it to suit their living needs for the years to come.
I've seen the work that they've done about like what they have to do. Like we're doing one in Marion Road at the minute, and it's the old stone walls, and they're building it and like basically a new fabric within the building. You know what I mean? And I've seen the ones where they do the lime plaster. It's just annoying, and it adds so much time onto the jobs. It's unreal. So they're building like basically a steel frame inside the building, and then they're doing the dents. I don't know what the insulation is called, but it's massive work.
This might be an odd one. It's just a conversation I was just having the other day between two people that probably don't have the answers for what we were talking about.
It was me, wasn't it? Tell the truth. You can say me name if you want.
I was getting fibre broadband put in the house. So, you've already got, insulation in the walls, the whole lot, like, and you've got lads coming out. Once they've drilled through, has that got any reflection to your energy rating when somebody's drilled externally into your house?
Yeah, there's a warranty problem with external insulation that you can't drill through it because it breaks the seal kind of thing. But
I'll be back in a while, right? I have 10 jobs to go to.
does it make a difference? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to think.
It is a warranty thing. I like Sky won't hang a dish on an external wall.
And then most of the houses in Ireland today have a vent in every room anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a big bored hole in it. So.
Oh, well, like ESB, Sky, Virgin, they all love it because they don't have to drill their own holes now because they're not allowed anymore, Yeah. And then we're putting the insulation screws in for them. And extra work for us, but like extra work you don't want to do, you know what I mean?
They also say then that Wi-Fi is not as good in a house that's externally insulated. And mine is, and I have no problem. But again, whether that's more negativity, I don't know.
Just looking at straws now.
It stops the wavelengths or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Trump again.
He as electrician should tell me more about that now. Right?
Aliens,
But more seasons, more episodes of Behind the Wall.
Yeah, we're going to stay with it. It'll be a kind of a slow burner. It's about getting the right time. It's timing and the right person in to talk about. So as you were saying that if we look at what we did last year, there was 10 there before. We've 2 more done this year already. So it's kind of you can nitpick. If you're interested in ventilation, there's an episode on ventilation. If you want to look at BERs, there's an episode. So. It's not like EastEnders. You don't have to follow it.
you don't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly. So you go back and if you're interested in one thing or another, well, then you can.
And they like visuals. I've noticed they like visual CPDs now. I'd go on and they'd be doing like little training videos, but you'd literally go onto your podcast and just watch an episode and just learn as you listen,
Yeah, and it's about the guests and it's about it's the information, trying to get the information out. And Pete is great in terms of what we try and do is it's not for people in the industry, this podcast. We're not trying to educate anyone in the industry because we do try and simplify everything. So we try and put everything in layman's terms. So Pete nearly gives me a slap in the head every time we use an acronym. You're not allowed to use an acronym. HEA. Home Energy Assessment, sorry. So, and we're so used to talking about these things day in, day out that you do fall into that. Whereas Pete picks up on it and would always go back and question everything and break it down and break it down and break it down. And you can't break it down anymore, which is good because that it's easier understanding.
Yeah.
Too.
I think that's what it is about, isn't it? It's like myself and yourself have spoke so many times where, you know, you can have conversations about the trade, and if you're to stick with, you know, trade analogies, and you lose people fairly quick, like, and like that dumbing it down is to the point of, I think anybody can listen in if they're trade related or non-trade related, and they'll get the same amount out of it, I think. Because I know if I was listening to one of your podcasts and I was even in the trades, there's acronyms and stuff like that I would have no clue about. Like, so to be able to have Pete there dumbing it down is probably
what you want.
what
Yeah.
you
But it's
want,
no
like, you know
different
what I
than the two E's starting to talk about testing the board there. Where I'd be
Where
glazing
Stephen
over
had
there
that clue
going,
Yeah, I'd be asking him for what's an RCD?
yeah, exactly. And, yeah.
You don't hang me on the on this podcast.
But what
Kenny.
you talk about every day, it's very hard to actually get out of that habit. That's all.
Yeah.
So Pete is great about bringing everything back.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing any, you know, live trade, like the way Design Source, but there must be some other events, so maybe SEII might run, or
We're up at the Ideal Home Show this year, and we're doing a talk on the Saturday. So we're trying to kind of reenact the podcast with Stephen Farrell.
Yeah.
So it'll be about the grant changes and
nice.
the grant increases, and I think people are usually interested in that. And I think it's a kind of a 15-minute talk with a 20-minute questions and answers.
That's the spot. to
And
do
I
it,
would
isn't it?
always say that even at our information nights, you try and keep the panel discussion down to a minimum, because everyone learns so much more from the questions and answers.
Yeah.
It's amazing that how homeowners understand a question from another homeowner.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone else on the panel asks a question, they're going, what is he talking about? So it is amazing the way they relate to each other, because they talk kind of the same language. It's not construction language.
Yeah, and on the Ideal Home Show, like, you're going to get a lot of, you know, homeowners that are looking to buy their own houses, or again, they're going to go into the retrofitting stages and, you know, trying to bring houses back to life. So the Ideal Home Show is
that's that open to the public. Yeah.
I
It is, yeah.
was at it a
Okay,
couple of times. It's brilliant, like, you know.
Yeah.
And to have the lads there be class, like, you know.
Yeah.
So we have the energy show on the 23rd and is it 22nd, 23rd? And it's the end of April. 23rd and 24th, I think, is the energy show, and then straight into the Ideal Home Show. So I'll be living up in Dublin that week.
Yeah.
Well, having the three is there. So if you have Stephen from the SEAI, yourself, obviously you've got three stages of a project there, you know. We have Pete that's actually on the ground installing the stuff, or what would you say, he's driving the job home, you that's speccing it, and then obviously you've got the regulatory body there as well.
The man with the money.
The man with the money, yeah. The big boss man there.
What was the
Big boss
part
man.
guess?
Yeah, but like the tree there, like, so there's nothing lost in between. And obviously you've got the fourth, then you've got the homeowner as well. So you've got the four stages of a, you know, really good project there. Like,
and they tend to be, when people are interested, the questions tend to be great.
Yeah.
But then there's people obviously that don't want to ask questions in front of people, so they come over afterwards, and that's a great discussion too, where you talk to people and you know, they take the drawings out of the back pocket and
what do you think?
next thing you're looking at a full house drawn and extensions and everything. But it is great to get that reaction from homeowners, because I think they value the one-on-one kind of thing. They mightn't ask you on the stage, but we do always make a point of hanging around after. Even the information nights are the same thing, that you'd always stay around for an hour after.
Yeah,
because people have their own individual and specific questions about specific houses. Easy for you to say. But, you know, when you're talking about those kind of questions, they don't want to bring it up in front, you know. My house has an odd dorm or whatever. They'd rather ask you that one-on-one.
And would there be a lot of those questions that are probably answerable through the SEII website, do you think?
The SEI website is full of information.
Just
maybe too much information, because you can go down wormholes. But it is a very good website. I think, you can't beat getting an answer from someone.
The horse's mouth,
yeah, exactly. And I think everyone picks up when someone knows what they're talking about. And everyone picks up when someone's a spoofer as well.
There's a lot of jargon.
But the trees are there, so you can probably handle any question, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd
like,
imagine so.
You say to Pete, like, how long is it going to take you to do that? Ask you, like, what am I getting from the end of it? And ask the other fella then, are they allowed to say that?
But
getting penalty points now for what you said.
listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, Ferg. What we usually do on every other season as well is to try and set up a bit of a Spotify playlist.
Excellent.
And we get each guest to add a song to it. I'm trying to explain why they've chose the song, but what would your choice be?
Now, believe it or not, I actually put thought into this.
Just important.
So I was only thinking.
not mention solar or green or
sunshine.
energy or
Energy, yeah. No, I was actually thinking that I've been to some great gigs and concerts over the years. It's very hard to pick one song, but my first concert was The Cure in the RDS, which was a good start. I went to see Sonic Youth in the Top Hat in Dunleary, and they were supported at the time by an unknown band called Nirvana.
Oh, right.
no way.
Before they were Nirvana, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I was only thinking then, I went to Oasis in Crow Park last year. I think that was my fourth time to see him, 30 years apart kind of thing. But if they're not the best band in the world, they're the best live band in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, to answer your question, that's a long way around the answer.
Yeah.
You're only getting one.
I know we're getting a good song out now.
After going through a lot there. But I'll stick to my Kilkenny roots, and I'll go for a band called Curb Dog. Did you ever hear of Curb Dog?
No, we'll check them out now.
So there's two songs, and I'll let you pick either one, and I'll be interested to see which one you pick. But there's a song called Sally, and there's a song called Mexican Wave. Now they're the obvious ones. They were their two most famous ones. But look up Curb Dog.
We'll give it a listen. Yeah.
I'll be delighted to see them on your Spotify list.
Yeah.
I have a funny feeling there's going to be something in this now. It's setting us up here, yeah.
Not at all. They're actually brilliant. They're back touring after years. They're doing a UK tour. They're playing Forest Fest. They play Electric Picnic. They're back all over the place. Yeah, that's it. That's my choice.
There you go. And Behind the Walls podcast can be got on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere.
YouTube, Spotify, on all these major platforms or wherever you see it. All good bookshops.
Decent.
And we'll be trying to get another one soon enough, so we'll try and add to the list. How many have you got now?
100 and...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What am I?
You're going to look like us at the end of it. Like two homeless men. This is what you have to look forward to.
Stop counting now.
2 cavemen.
Pleasure, Ferg. Cheers, man.
Thanks a million, lads.
Cheers. Daily.
Right, that's it. Season 9, episode 4 in the can.
Another one done.
Fergal, what a gent, what a man taking the drive up, having a chat with us. Like we mentioned at the start of the episode, fellow podcaster, Behind the Walls podcast. In the early droves of getting episodes out there, but niche but very informative.
No, 100%. And like what he shared with us on the podcast, like their aim is for, to inform people and, making people aware what they can or cannot claim for in their retrofit journey. So it's brilliant. And look, we had a 0-0 tonight. I think in the future we're going to have a real drink, and we might even be able to entice Pete on, and we'll get a good chat going between the four of us.
Yeah, and look, like you mentioned, there's a lot of information out there, SEI grants information as well on their websites, and to be able to get the likes of Ferg and Pete and have podcasts out there that can dumb it down and make it a bit easier for the layman to understand is exactly what you want. Like, so fair play to them, and got another avid listeners here of their podcast, and hopefully anybody who's listened to this podcast will head over and give them a look and a listen.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, that's what we're here for. Any other tradespeople, anyone in the industry, we're looking just to have the chats, get stories out there. If it's informative for the listener, that's 100%, and that's something that we're looking to do. So
yeah, big shout out as well, our main sponsor, Snickers Workwear Ireland. Make sure you head over to snickersworkwear.ie, find out what they have on offer. We're coming into springtime now, so I'm pretty sure the spring colours are going to be coming in. So
100%,
a lot of new stuff to be looking out for there.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks to the team at Hull to Fours and Snickers. Thanks for N2 for facilitating the podcast and letting us use their space. So big thanks to Andy and the team.
Yeah, big shout out as well to Hager Ireland for supporting us on season 9. Another great brand to get behind, a brand that myself and Key have used over the last 20 plus years as qualified electricians. So, look, I guess at the end of the day, it's a big thank you to everybody as well who's come back again and listened to our podcast. And if you liked what you've listened to on this episode, make sure you head over to wherever you get your podcast, give us a follow or a like, and you'll be notified then when the next one drops.
See you on the next one.